Hey guys, what's up? It's Cole. So Necromancer gets a vicious heart that allows corpses that it walks past to trigger a corpse skill that you have equipped. And I have to say that this is truly a game-changing ability, or rather, item that you can get. And I have slotted it in since early level, and it has just blown me away with how powerful it is. And so the point of this video is really just to introduce it, like let the community know, and then should talk about some of the neat effects about it. So the first thing is that in terms of equipped skills, it really does mean it needs to be on your bar. And so as someone who is now trying to do a Necromancer for season 1, I can say that I am feeling very keenly the lack of spell slots. I cannot take a basic skill and a core skill and have the corpse abilities, and have Decrepify, which is an absolute game-changing ability to have Decrepify. So we're kind of at that point where it's like, wow, this kind of sucks for bar space, but in terms of the actual effect, it is so staggeringly powerful. Minion builds do have a level of micromanagement to them, where you can activate the effect to get the Skeletal Priest to heal up all of them, and it can be a little bit tedious, or at least that was my initial impression during the first beta, where Necromancer's minions weren't squishy at all. I do think that maybe the pendulum was a little too far in that direction, but now, with this item, we officially do not need to give the most minute flying fuck. Why? Because this will automatically resummon any minions that die. And so I'm still playing with things, I'm still trying to figure things out, but what I've gone with now is I'm going with the Bone Skeleton Mages. And the Bone Skeleton Mages, as you know, if you play Necromancer more than me, or played it like during the preseason, they will use their own life as a resource to boost their damage tremendously, and they do hit like a truck, especially if you take the first effect where they deal 40% more damage. That's multiplicative. I do have advanced tooltips on, so you can see the little X there, and so that makes them hit very, very, very hard. But there's also effects like if the skeletal mages die, it's going to leave a corpse. That corpse, as soon as they die, this effect will immediately get one back up. It is a beautiful cycle, and it is very weird and very Necromancer-like to be like, well, I'll just automatically revive that. So micromanagement of that was down, down, down. Another thing that I'm kind of experimenting with right now is Reapers can have a 15% chance to carve the flesh off of enemies, forming a corpse. I think that's really good, although with Decrepify in our build, I'm not sure if the first ability is still better or not. I still think it might be better, where basically you're getting their heavy attack more often. And then right now, I'm kind of torn on what to do with the Golem. Right now, I'm really impressed with the amount of damage that the Blood Golem is doing, especially with its second effect, when you are healthy, so your HP pool is above 80%, it gets a 25% damage reduction and 50% increased damage, which is pretty freaking great. But if we're looking at some of the other effects, like the Bone Golem has a chance to shed a corpse if it takes 20% of its maximum life. Unfortunately, this effect obviously doesn't resummon your golem if it goes down, although I have to admit I've yet to have that down, but I am in World Tier 1, keep that in mind. When we're hitting World Tier 3, I'm pretty sure that will be a very different story. Now let's talk about the passives very briefly. So the Necromancer has a passive in the second tree, which is called Huge Flesh, where you're going to be getting a 12% chance to create a corpse at a target's location. I think that that is absolutely fantastic, really very much important for bosses in my opinion, but this feeds into the other passives. The second one is going to be Grim Harvest, which is in the third tree, which is going to be consuming a corpse. It generates 2 essence. It's not the biggest deal, it really isn't, but the other one that is behind it, which is Fueled by Death, where you can get up to a 9% basically permanent damage increase, which is absolutely phenomenal. It is actually very strong. And from there, I'm going to talk about some of the active abilities at this point. And these might be things that you might have seen on social media. I've seen it like whispers of it, like in some places here and there, but I'm trying to spread it here. But Corpse Explosion is an ability that can be very, very good. Especially my preference is the Blighted Corpse Explosion, just because it makes its range, just makes a pool, makes it very visual. I find it very powerful. But I am also, if anyone knows, tremendously hugely, massively lazy, and even though this is objectively going to deal less damage than if you procced it yourself, I find it significantly more quality of life and gameplay enhancing to just have it automatically proc from all the corpses, because I can tell you there is no freaking way that I'm going to be proccing Corpse Explosion myself. Now, Corpse Tendrils is another ability, and yes, you're gonna wonder, does it follow the cooldown? It absolutely follows the cooldown restriction, and so any cooldown bonuses that you get obviously are gonna make this more effective. But Corpse Tendrils, they're gonna automatically proc, they're gonna just rip enemies right to it. At that point, you probably don't care so much about the damage. I can tell you, this has been a beautiful effect. And then I go all the way for Plagued Corpse Tendrils, which is going to give vulnerable to enemies. And so really the beauty of all of this, I think, more than necessarily power, is going to be quality of life, because baked into the item's passive effect is that like damage being really toned down, so you are objectively getting significantly less out of the spell. But if you're a player like me who literally is either not going to proc all the corpses, is too lazy, doesn't necessarily want to resummon the skeletal mages, especially the bone ones, every time they choose to explode themselves, this is a game changer. I truly earnestly mean that. When I got this, like before I got this ability, I was like, okay, I'm going to try very hard to make a Summoner Necromancer work. If it doesn't work, whatever, it'll be the way it is. And I might re-roll, I might just say screw it, wait till Season 2. As soon as I got this, I was like, okay, I'm a believer, let's see how far we can push this, let's see how it does through World Tier 1, getting up to level 50, swap into World Tier 3, and beyond that. I am definitely a believer now. I am a fan of this. I definitely think that you should be aiming for this Malignant Heart thing, which I really don't love the name of that, just, I don't know. Not my favorite name of the season, not my favorite name of items. It gives me the EBGBs just because of some other stuff. But I realize they're just trying to go for an edgy word, but it is what it is. Anyhow, let me know what you guys think about this. For me, truly game changing for Necro. It's not as powerful as if you manually did it, but you know what? Something about automation is so freaking worth it for me, because I'm way too lazy. Take care, everyone.